Thank you, Excellencies. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening to you. Mbula. Your Excellencies, we gather here in New York at a critical time for our region and the world. And it is my great honor as Chair of PSIDS to welcome you all to this reception, to celebrate the ties that bind us together and to renew our bonds of solidarity and friendship. It has only been a matter of weeks before I saw many of you, and in that time we have lost one of our number and a leader who commanded both respect and affection. I'm talking about, of course, the late Prime Minister of Tonga, Akilisi Pohiva, who was a man of uncompromising integrity, who was a great champion of his nation's interest and the interest of all Pacific Islanders. And we shall especially remember him most recently as a climate warrior who had a particular interest in our collective struggle to draw world attention to the increasingly perilous situation we face in the Pacific. I will personally never forget the courage he showed in coming to our Pacific Islands Forum meeting in Tuvalu last month. He knew he was dying, but was determined to make Tonga's voice heard. And none of us will ever forget the deep emotion he showed on the climate issue, the way he was brought to tears of frustration that others do not share the level of concern that we do as islanders. In Akilisi Pohiva's memory here at Climate Week at the UN, we recommit ourselves tonight as Pacific leaders to continue the battle he fought with us. Excellencies, all over the world, we are seeing the climate threat finally being described as a planetary emergency we all know it to be. In a few hours' time, at 500 hours here in New York, besides Fiji playing rugby, we are going to get another reminder of the dire situation the whole world faces when the IPCC report comes out, when it releases its new special report on ocean and cryosphere. Some of the reports coming out in advance about its findings are especially terrifying for us in the Pacific. And at every turn we must keep up the pressure to get all nations to appreciate the particular challenges we face, along of course with the vulnerable nations the world over. We must also remember that we have been in the vanguard of the climate effort and launched initiatives that have been taken up by the rest of the world. These will, of course, include our call in the Super Declaration 4 years ago for global warming to be kept at 1.5 degrees, and our insistence that small states be brought into the heart of the climate process. These are things of which we can all be proud of. So we have done a significant amount already to frame the global climate response, and we intend to do a lot more. We have less than 3 months until COP25 in Chile in December, and in that time I urge all of us as a group to redouble our efforts to get our message across. As the so-called Blue COP, with its particular emphasis on oceans, it will be an especially important gathering for maritime nations like ours, like our own, and we will all expect the PSIDS to play an important role. In closing, Your Excellencies, can I also make the observation that we must redouble our efforts to engage our own people in the climate effort, to resist the onset of climate fatigue, and continue to explain that our efforts at a global level are all about protecting the interests of every man, women and child in the Pacific Islands. It is a fight for our survival, which we intend as leaders to do everything we possibly can to win. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the evening, and good evening, Mr. Prime Minister. Congratulations on beating Fiji last year. Thank you, Excellencies. Enjoy the evening.
Yeah, I was a bit worried before I went to bed that night. Your voice played really well.
Him and I put a line together. We said we must take something up to the Security Council. And that rugby must only be played for 40 minutes.
Well done on a fantastic event in Fiji. It was
moving more in terms of small island nations around the world really to work together as a collective voice.
It was important for us to be here. No, I'm coming for headquarters.
Oh, okay.
I'm coming for headquarters. But you visited that.
We got plenty lights. We got plenty lights. Now they're all joining the World Cup.
Small change from that.